In the forests of South America 10 million years ago, a flock of herbivores is grazing as silently as they can. Though they look a lot like camels, they aren't related at all. The herd takes turns between each other to graze and to keep a lookout. There are many predators in this forest, including the giant terror birds, easily capable of tearing the mammals apart. One youngster pushes through some shrubs and notices a small ravine filled with just the type of plant she's looking for. Before going down, however, she notices a long, odd-looking rock amongst the foliage. Then she notices one of the ferns at the front of the rock is moving slightly, as if some small creature was rustling its leaves, or the wind is blowing only on that shrub. It is then she realizes that it's not the wind. The rock is breathing. Suddenly the rock rises up, revealing an armored back and a huge head lined with massive teeth. The small female's instincts kick in, and she bolts in the opposite direction, causing her flock to do the same, right as the full, massive body of their attacker bounds out of the ravine, standing on four heavily muscled legs. It gives chase, galloping after the fleeing herbivores, which dart between the trees and over the low-lying foliage. The huge reptile moves fast despite its size and armor, and draws closer to the frightened herd, but almost as soon as the pursuit begins, it ends. The massive predator slows to a halt, his warm-blooded prey outmaneuvering and outpacing him. This is Barinasuchus, measuring over 6 meters long and weighing over 1.7 tons. Though not closely related to modern crocodiles, they share distant ancestry. Most obvious of their differences is that Barinasuchus is purely terrestrial and has grown enormous on it. This tall, powerful ambush hunter is the largest predator since the time of the dinosaurs, and the largest land predator in the entire age of mammals. This male is more adapted to going after large prey and slow mammals, and was outrun by his latest target. However, having moved closer to the forest edges, his nose has picked up a potential meal. After catching his breath, he strides out of the forest and onto the open plains. It is not long before he finds the source of the smell. 3 smaller Barinasuchus have taken down a large tapir-like mammal and are feeding on its flesh. They all stop and turn when they hear the low rumbling sounds of the approaching male. These guttural rumbles are the only warning the male gives as he approaches, and the 3 smaller Barinasuchus quickly back away from the carcass. Even though they are mostly solitary, there is a pecking order to who eats first, and it's not first in, best served. It is based purely on size and power. The smaller crocs will have to wait their turn, and hope others of their kind don't turn up. The huge male bites into the carcass and breaks off a section of flesh and bone, swallowing the whole thing. Like other crocodiliforms, his stomach contains some of the most powerful digestive acids in the animal kingdom, making him capable of eating even the toughest of materials. Feathers, fur, bone, even teeth can be broken down. After this meal, the male probably won't have to eat for months, and will spend his time patrolling his territory and basking in the sun. The age of reptiles may have ended long ago, but even as mammals took over the world, there have been plenty of crocodilian species that have reigned as top predators. And it is most prevalent here, in South America, with Barinasuchus. Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today we will be breaking down one of the most impressive land crocs to have ever lived. Barinasuchus. Barinasuchus was a large cebecid crocodilomorph that lived between 20 and 10 million years ago in South America. It reached lengths up to 6 meters long, stood 2 meters tall, and weighed between 1.6 and 1.7 tons. Now before we continue, we first have to discuss the Barinasuchus' specific family, the cebecids. Cebecids are an offshoot of crocodilomorphs, distantly related to modern croc species. except almost all of them were land predators that were quite successful during the age of mammals, especially in South America. Their common traits are that they walked on long legs held under their bodies, had long round tails instead of flat wide tails of semi-aquatic species, and most importantly, they had tall, crushing jaws that look a lot like what you see on predatory dinosaurs. While large crocodiles, like saltwater crocodiles, have teeth and jaws designed to hold on to prey so that they can drown them, Cebechids were designed to rip through flesh and crush bone, since they likely didn't attack from water. Barinasuchus is only known from the front part of the skull, which isn't much, but since it is definitely a species of Cebechid and not a modern crocodile, it is safe to assume it has all, if not most, of the traits previously mentioned. On the small amount of jaws we have, its skull is estimated to be around a meter in length, and based off of this, we come up with the full body length of 6 meters, making it the largest Cebechid to have ever lived. It was also likely the last, disappearing around 10 million years ago. It was at this time that the Andes Mountains were beginning to form, and this affected Barinasuchus's environment and many species it lived alongside. It was likely an ambush predator, preferring to get as close to prey as possible so it could quickly run them down and use its powerful jaws to kill it quickly and brutally. Though working out its running speed is difficult, it likely couldn't pursue prey for long, a trait most cold-blooded animals have. Personally, the image of a land crocodile that gallops toward you is utterly terrifying, as well as pretty awesome. Barinasuchus and Cebechids in general are an excellent example of how varied croc species used to be. Their family has survived for over 200 million years, and has produced some incredibly different species, like Armadillosuchus, which I've already done a video on. Barinasuchus managed to carve out the role of top predator in its region, and even in the age of mammals, was the largest land predator the planet has seen since T-Rex. So it is definitely worthy of more mainstream attention. But what do you think of Barinasuchus? What lesser-known creature should I do a breakdown on next? Until then, I think we're all thankful that modern crocs stuck to the water.